Some breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City. Epstein was facing trafficking charges.
What if one of America's most respected family-friendly celebrities wasn't just loosely connected to Jeffrey Epstein, but was actually moving within the same protected circle that helped powerful people avoid consequences for years? That's the question now surrounding Steve Harvey as new Epstein files reach Washington in November 2025. Suddenly, familiar names, timelines, and close friendships are starting to overlap in ways that are becoming harder to ignore. This isn't just a random name showing up in an email. It looks more like a network where Epstein's emails, Diddy's conviction, and trouble inside Harvey's own household all seem to line up during the same years, with the same people and the same unsettling silence.
It reinforced the research that I did on my book that Jeffrey Epstein has always viewed himself as smarter than everybody else, and he also has collected people all along the way, particularly over the 2 decades through his trafficking. And that was always to get secrets and bits of information about individuals that he could pass to other people.
In mid-November 2025, lawmakers in the U.S. House released over 20,000 pages from the Epstein files, covering emails and communications from about 2008 to 2019. These documents include emails where Epstein bragged that Donald Trump knew about the girls and mentioned spending long hours at his homes, claims that House staff and witnesses say Trump would have known about. As soon as the files came out, Democrats and Republicans started arguing over which emails each side was highlighting, with both accusing the other of twisting the story. It may sound like normal political drama, but it proves one important point. These files are no longer just rumors. They are now part of the public record, exposing more names, more connections, and more uncomfortable relationships. Now add that to what happened with Sean Diddy Combs in 2024. After years of whispers and civil lawsuits, federal prosecutors finally brought a major case against him. They used testimony from former partners and insiders who described what they called frickoffs, going back as far as 2008. By mid-2025, a New York jury found him not guilty of the most serious charges like racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking by force. They did convict him on 2 counts of transporting people across state and international lines for paid intimate encounters. Each charge carries up to 10 years. He is now serving a 50-month sentence in a federal facility in New Jersey, with a new projected release date of June 2028, after recent adjustments to his prison status. Even though his lawyers are preparing an appeal and he still denies everything, the detailed testimony about planned, filmed encounters used as leverage has already shattered the clean, wholesome public image he spent years promoting.
She probably wants to get out early. So I think that we have more digging to do. I think the DOJ transparency effort here is the right thing, but the reason it's on a Friday, Will, is I think there are no smoking guns. There's other places we have to look.
Well, Buck,
This is where Steve Harvey comes into the picture. While Epstein was sending strange, bragging emails about presidents and powerful people, and Diddy was allegedly running a secret system to satisfy his private desires, Harvey was becoming daytime TV's moral guide. He was the man giving advice about responsibility, relationships, and how women should expect better treatment from men. But behind that public image, his ex-wife Mary was accusing Jim in court filings and online videos of psychological abuse, financial manipulation, and what she dramatically described as soul destruction, a term she used for a mix of alleged mistreatment, deprivation, and emotional breaking. In 2017, she filed a $60 million lawsuit claiming everything from violation of her rights to emotional suffering. The case was eventually dismissed on jurisdictional grounds, with the judge saying it should have been filed in Texas, and Harvey's legal team calling the claims baseless and untrue. Still, the accusations didn't fully disappear. They just stopped being talked about publicly.
He took my Winton. Took my Winton from me. He turned my son against me.
By 2019, all of these storylines were unfolding at the same time. Epstein was still alive, still emailing journalists and associates. Diddy was still a major force in music and nightlife, running brands and hosting carefully planned events. And Steve Harvey's family was becoming a tabloid topic because of his stepdaughter, Lori. That summer, Lori Harvathan, in her early 20s, was photographed multiple times with Diddy, who was in his late 40s. They were seen together in Cabo, walking around New York in matching outfits, and even having lunch in Italy with Lori's mother and Steve sitting at the same table. Photos from August showed Lori with her arm around Diddy while dining with her parents. turning what had been just rumors into a full-blown public conversation. Fans flooded social media, asking why a man known as America's dad seemed comfortable with his stepdaughter, dating someone nearly 30 years older, especially someone already surrounded by long-standing rumors about controlling behavior and unusual private gatherings.
Mother is 54 years old. Her mother is 5 years older.
Back then, the media treated the whole situation like normal celebrity gossip. TMZ-style outlets called it a harmless fling. People close to Diddy said he was grieving and trying to heal after Kim Porter's sudden death in late 2018. Insiders also claimed Lori had been a family friend for years and simply brought him comfort. Some reports even emphasized that Lori always denied dating Diddy's son, Justin, despite long-running rumors that she had been linked to him first. But now, in late 2025, that same 2019 timeline looks completely different when compared to what jurors later heard in federal court. We now know that during that period, Diddy's alleged pattern of flying partners and paid participants to different cities for long, choreographed encounters was already well underway behind the scenes. Witnesses described him using recordings as leverage and depending on a small, loyal team to keep everything quiet and controlled. Suddenly, those cozy pictures from Italy and Mexico don't look like simple couple photos anymore. They feel more like glimpses into the outer edge of something much darker.
We're 49.
Diddy is 49 years old.
Oh, man!
That is a 27.
Meanwhile, the Epstein emails released this year give us another look at how the ultra-wealthy thought about risk. Many of Epstein's messages written in all lowercase with strange quirks like him he show, a man so confident in his protection that he didn't even bother fixing obvious mistakes while talking about presidents, accusers, and sensitive matters. In one email from early 2019, he claimed that Trump knew about the girls and mentioned staff who could confirm how often the future president was around. In another, he was planning with writer Michael Wolff how to use Trump's public statements as leverage. The tone is casual, dismissive, almost berides the voice of someone who assumes nothing he writes will ever seriously threaten his freedom or reputation. That attitude matters because it makes us wonder if a similar culture of protection existed around men like Diddy and Steve Harvey. When Lori Harvey was photographed with Diddy and later seen with her parents in Europe, fans turned to Steve's public accounts expecting some kind of reaction. Instead, there was silence. Articles at the time noted that while Lori and Diddy were trending, Steve was busy promoting his Sand and Soul Festival in Cancun and posting about anniversary trips with Marjorie. Commenters asked, "Where is Uncle Steve?" They wondered how a man who wrote a best-selling book on relationships could stay quiet, while his stepdaughter was rumored to be involved with a man nearly her father's Zakisamion who had already lost a partner and was known for extravagant, late-night parties.
So I just keep going through. But then I'll tell you something too, haters motivate me. Because when they talking about me, that means...
We can't ignore that this silence came from someone whose own private life was already being exposed in courts and online. Mary Harvey went on camera saying that the division of assets from their Texas divorce wasn't handled as a judge promised, that she had been left financially and emotionally broken, and that Steve used his influence to push her aside while he rebuilt himself as a self-help guru. His lawyers responded aggressively, vowing to defend him and file count. Over time, the judges dismissed her major case. Still, her allegations of psychological abuse and manipulation now sit uncomfortably next to the image of a stepfather, who reportedly watched Lori sit across from Diddy at lunch and kept his reactions private. Hollywood insiders say that what looks like silence is often a deliberate strategy coordinated by managers, lawyers, and network executives. The reasoning is simple. Any public comment from Steve showing concern about Diddy would immediately lead to questions about what he had seen behind the scenes at events, trips, or parties over the years. Steve Harvey and Diddy have been in overlapping circles since at least the mid-2000s, attending the same celebrations, award shows, and industry events. If Steve had publicly spoken out in 2019, reporters could have asked whether he was only reacting now because cameras caught it or whether he had ignored similar rumors for years in those same rooms.
Now, I'm a Christian, but I ain't that good a Christian.
As Congress pushes the Department of Justice to release the rest of the Epstein-related files under a new Transparency Act, and as Diddy remains at FCI Fort Dix with more than 70 civil lawsuits still tied to his name, people are starting to look at Steve Harvey's choices differently. On one side, he's the talk show host, telling women to know their worth and telling men to act responsibly. On the other side, there's his ex-wife, who says she was emotionally damaged. His stepdaughter was linked to a rumored relationship with a man who would later be convicted of serious misconduct involving paid encounters and controlling behavior. And through all of this, Steve Harvey remained publicly silent, a silence that stands out for a man who usually comments on almost everything. The pattern appearing in these stories isn't just about individual accusations, it's about systems of mutual protection. Epstein repeatedly wrote about using sensitive information as leverage. Diddy's accusers describe recordings and financial pressure used to keep people in line. And Steve Harvey, according to past legal filings and interviews, worked hard to control the public narrative around his divorces and to present himself as a wiser, reformed figure. When we put all of this next to the 2019 photos of Lori and Diddy at family lunches and the reality in 2025 of new Epstein emails and a convicted entertainment mogul in federal custody, questions begin to change. It's no longer just about whether Steve Harvey crossed paths with these worlds by coincidence. The real question becomes, how connected was he to the system around them? What did he understand about the people at his table? And how many decisions were made privately to keep the full story out of public view?
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Well, Steve's learning that the hard way tonight. Steve's ex-wife, Mary Harvey, is angry, and she's going...
For years, we've been told that Steve Harvey's world existed on a separate shelf from the dark stories around Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs. Daytime talk shows, family game nights, and motivational tours were painted as a different universe from leaked emails, federal charges, and sealed affidavits. But when you look closely at the paper trail, that illusion starts to crack. The dismissal of Mary Harvey's $60 million lawsuit in 2017 was not a declaration that Steve was innocent. It was simply a judge in Los Angeles saying the case should have been filed in Texas. Where the divorce was finalized in 2005, the serious accusations of destruction, deprivation, and psychological torment remained unresolved, just hanging in the air. At almost the same time, Epstein's emails from 2008 to 2019 show a man casually claiming that Trump knew about the girls, mentioning House staff testimony, and talking about using leverage as if it were normal business, a warning sign. During that same period, Diddy was building the pattern that would eventually lead to his 2025 conviction and a 50-month sentence in a New Jersey federal facility. Prosecutors said his actions involved travel, recruitment, and carefully planned private encounters, stretching back more than a decade. That's where the bigger story starts to come into focus. It isn't in a single viral photo or clip-its in the paperwork. On one side, there are Epstein's more than 20,000 pages of emails released in November 2025, filled with typos and lowercase rambling, but outlining a clear system of influence and control. On another, there's Mary Harvey's case being dismissed in Los Angeles because of a technical jurisdiction issue, even as she went on YouTube saying the judge had promised a fair division of assets that never happened, and claiming years of emotional destruction at Steve's hands. And over all of it is Diddy's timeline, civil suits, quiet settlements, and finally, a federal jury that cleared him of the most serious charges but still convicted him of transporting people across borders for paid encounters. The Bureau of Prisons updated his projected release date to June 2028, after internal discipline for repeated substance violations, a reminder that his legal battles are far from over.
They're suddenly going to be in the spotlight, and that's just a kind of a strange scenario that we're finding ourselves in. As to why they released it, I mean, look, the grand jury materials, I think, were kind of properly protected by a judge who said, no, it's not enough just that the world's really excited and wants to know kind of scurrilous details about Epstein and Maxwell. The judge, I think, properly respected the statutory protection.
When we step back, a pattern starts to emerge that some media lawyers call structured silence. Steve Harvey's empire, estimated at around $200 million by business outlets in the late 2010s, did not grow in a vacuum. It grew while serious accusations were being deflected, delayed, or dismissed. It grew while Mary Harvey's claims were sent to Texas and then lost in a maze of filings that never went to a full trial. It grew while his public image was polished by PR teams, landing him a lucrative 2017 book deal and a high-profile move to Foxavan, as court documents from that year included words like torture, conspiracy against rights, and kidnapping linked to his name. We are not talking about gossip blogs. These were filings obtained by mainstream outlets, along with statements from his own attorney calling the case baseless and promising to defend him vigorously. Structured silence also appears in how Diddy's prison situation has been managed. Officially, reports from FCI Fort Dix say he faced sanctions for substance-related rule violations, a story presented as a normal celebrity inmate struggling to adjust. But insiders familiar with federal prisons say such violations can also serve as a convenient tool when dealing with a high-profile inmate whose presence carries security risks or potential embarrassment. A star inmate who knows too much about executives, politicians, and decades of private gatherings is never just another number. He is a walking archive, when that inmate also has more than 70 civil lawsuits pending, some alleging coercive encounters caught on video. The stakes of every sanction, hearing, or early release decision are much higher. Looking back at Epstein's emails, we see the same mentality, just in a cruder form. In 2019, he wrote that Trump knew about the girls, mentioned that a Mar-a-Lago employee had worked for him, referenced House staff testimony, and suggested he could be the one to bring Trump down. He even offered a journalist photos of Trump with young women in bikinis in his kitchen towel. The journalist later said they never arrived. He also talked to Michael Wolff about using his knowledge as leverage. All written in messy lowercase with strange punctuation, as if there were no consequences. This is the mindset of someone who believes the system will always bend around him. So where does Steve Harvey fit in? This is where industry insiders quietly talk about a protection racket for reputations. Epstein's circle allegedly included people who didn't directly commit his worst acts, but helped by keeping quiet, managing introductions, or smoothing over problems when victims spoke up. Diddy's world, according to former staffers, relied on managers, security, and aides who arranged travel, prepared locations, and handled payouts or non-disclosure agreements when things got out of control. And Steve Harvey, during those same years, was not just telling jokes. He was signing long-term deals that made him the face of family values. While his ex-wife appeared on camera saying he owed her tens of millions and had ruined her life.